Happy birthday to GU Politics. It's been incredible to see this institution grow under your leadership, Mo. The difference it's made to campus life, and not just from the difference from when I went there, but from when I started teaching back at Georgetown in 2010. The difference in the past 5 years is just enormous.
As I reflect on our 5th year anniversary and commemoration, I've been thinking a lot about when we launched the Institute. I arrived on campus, returned to campus at the beginning of the summer with a goal of launching the Institute at the start of the fall semester. Didn't have a lot of time. So I needed to rely on a lot of smart people to help us think through what we wanted this to look like and how we were going to do it. 2 of the first people I called were 2 old friends and colleagues, Ron Klain and Tina Flournoy. I couldn't be more thrilled to welcome them both here for this timely conversation as we approach the 100-day mark of the Biden-Harris administration.
I know that Vice President Harris, when she started thinking about the job, her thoughts were, how do I be a full partner to President Joe Biden? But her goal is to make sure that she is an informed and active partner to the president, and that she brings to the table her knowledge and experience to enhance the work that this administration wants to do.
Ron, you've had to deal with a pandemic before in your previous job.
Yeah.
So drawing on that experience, how did you all decide to approach this pandemic?
I'll start with the basic approach we took, which was 2 fundamental changes from the approach we inherited. First of all, the federal government took full responsibility for this vaccine program. We didn't say it was just a state and local problem. The first thing we did was we took responsibility for the vaccine distribution. The second thing we did is we said, we're just not going to spare any effort here. And the president ordered the team to purchase hundreds of millions of more doses, so we would have more than enough to vaccinate every American, even if one of the vaccines didn't work out. So we were ready, no matter what happened.
One of the other big issues that was identified was the issue of equity. I'm wondering your thoughts on how has the administration moved towards that in its first 100 days?
What I have seen demonstrated in this administration from the very top, that is from President Biden on down, and certainly felt deeply by the vice president and everyone else we're working with, is that this is a systemic problem and it has to be addressed in that way. That you have to look at all of the things and all the pressure points when you can say the change has to happen. And that as the federal government in places where we can make change happen, we're going to do that.
I think where we are is, first of all, let's start with where we are, which is back in Paris. The day before Joe Biden became president, the Trump administration rescission of our agreement to the Paris Accord was supposed to take effect. On his first day as president, he made it clear America's part of the global community fighting climate change. And the direction that President Biden, Vice President Harris are putting America on is to be the global leader in creating these good, high-paying jobs that help our country and other countries use cleaner and cleaner energy and combat climate change.
The vice president always says that most people, given the option, will want to stay home. They'll want to stay in their home country where they have family, where the language is the same, the culture that they've grown up with. These people, most of them who are leaving the country, and you're right to say that it's a dangerous and arduous journey and a tough decision to make to leave their country, are leaving because they have to, either because of violence, poverty, because of food insecurity, and also climate-related issues.
Now that I've hung up my practitioner spurs and I'm watching this all as an observer, is how many different definitions there are of unity. What does it mean? And are we more unified as a nation nearly 100 days into this new administration?
Unity means this country coming together to tackle problems with common purpose and common resolve. And I think we've seen a tremendous amount of unity, for example, around this vaccine program. I see people, young and old, volunteering in our vaccination centers all over the country. People who are Republicans, Democrats, Independents, people of all races coming together to get themselves vaccinated, to get their neighbors vaccinated, to help pull off this achievement. Now in Washington, that's the place where you'd last expect unity to break out, I think. But even there, we're starting to see some progress.
Look, the world has changed, and I think our idea of our perception of what unity looked like or what it should look like may be changing. That sounds weird, but I've been giving this a lot of thought, and perhaps it has changed. I do think that people share common goals. We may have different ways of articulating them or thinking about them or getting to them, but they are really the big goals, I think, remain the same and they remain common to everybody. I think we've gotten tied up by so much that's built to divide us. And what we're trying to get back to is getting away from those things. And I think that this administration and the two people who are heading the administration have had a big hand in making people see what we can be, what it was at one time, and what it can be again when we don't govern by distraction.
What you'll see him say to the Congress next week, when he does address this joint session of Congress on Wednesday night, is the need for us to take action, the need for us to prove that our government can deliver again, prove that we can move forward on these long-standing problems. I mean, the thing about where we are right now in this country is there's very little debate about what our problems. These problems are there. They've been lingering. And I think the question is now, are we a moment of action on those problems? And I think that's what you'll hear from the president next Wednesday night, is a call to action.
At least for me, it was always the sense that you should lead a purposeful life, that you need to do something that mattered, that you need to do something that affected someone other than yourself. And that was something I think was just part of everything that I got at Georgetown the 4 years I was there, that there was something bigger than you, and you had an obligation to try to impact other people's lives.
You know, that's the unique thing about Georgetown. It's this combination of world-class academics in areas of public policy, now with the addition of the McCourt School, but fantastic academics in public policy and government and political philosophy, all those things. And that chance, by being in Washington, to work hands-on in the government or for a think tank or for an advocacy group or any one of those opportunities that are really unique to being in Washington, D.C. And now with this third branch, the existence of GU politics, to bring all that together and to help lift up students' experiences and expose them to all kinds of programming, it's a really unique opportunity. I think every student at Georgetown should wake up every day and be grateful for the amazing experience they have there that could prepare them for a career in public service that cannot be matched at any other university in the United States.